Everybody's at the record hop, rockin' at the record hop. Rockin' at the record hop, baby. Rockin' at the record hop. Rockin' at the record hop, baby. Rollin' at the record hop, rockin' and rollin'.
Hey everyone, this is Through the Funnel, a digital marketing podcast where we interview digital marketing experts and try to find out their secret sauce while getting sauced on local craft beers. Now, for your listening pleasure, here are your hosts, Kenna and Andres. Hey everyone, I'm Kenna.
Hello, I'm Andres Romero.
And this is Through the Funnel, a digital marketing podcast.
Yeah, this is a great space for all the people who are just visiting us and are brand new to our podcast. It's a great place to show people the different kind of marketing approaches of the 21st century, the latest trends, and obviously not without drinking local craft beer from Colorado. In this episode, we got an Avalanche Amber Ale from Breckenridge Brewery, which is pretty delicious. What do you think?
So we're not sponsored yet, but expect in the future.
We literally went to grab some pizza earlier before the podcast started, and then we went to the liquor store right next to the pizza place, and we're like, this looks really good, and it's actually really, really good. So
just so everyone knows.
Yeah, good job.
We highly suggest it. What about you, Matt? What are you drinking on that end?
Yeah, I'm down here in Houston. I'm drinking some Eureka Heights at the Buckle Bunny. Nice local craft beer brewed down here in Houston, Texas.
Nice.
It's a very nice can too. I would kind of like to collect that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got some great little quotes on it too. You know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, what's it say?
The little cream ale is pretty much for everyone. Great for a hot summer's day or a hot winter's night. Crisp and corny, like a delightful dad joke.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay.
So for those of you that don't know, Matt Bertram is with us here today, and he is the owner of, one of the owners of eWeb Results, and is one of the hosts of the Best SEO podcasts. So if you haven't checked that out, I highly suggest it. So Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Kenna.
Okay. So how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So my kind of origin story to get into like internet marketing was, my mom worked for Microsoft. So I really saw kind of the internet grow from the beginning. And I had an internship in college where we were promoting over-the-counter brands for GlaxoSmithKline. And basically, how I won the competition, but I not only won the competition, I 10x the competition, and there was 50 people in it. And really how I did that is through the power of online advertising or digital marketing. This was actually before AdWords, but what I did is I went around and got a bunch of bandit signs, which AdWords is kind of what bandit signs are online, put them all around. I own the domain gotfreecoupons.com. And basically, I was driving people as I was giving them samples of, say, Aquafresh toothpaste or Tums or something like that, where they could actually go download these dollar off coupons for more. And so I was able, through internet marketing, to build that relationship with the end user and have them continuously use what I was offering. So I took that kind of strategy outside of A&M, and then went to college, went to UT, went to other colleges in the Texas area. And so I was continuously getting repeat business, and really just, a light bulb went off early on that the power of internet marketing is so strong. But, fast forward, email automation has really kind of changed the game, or it did about 7 years ago. And, just from that point and just seeing how powerful digital marketing was, I decided to dive in fully and grow and start an agency. And that's what I've been doing. I asked to become the co-host of The Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. We've got about, I think, 3 million something downloads, maybe 4 million downloads now. We've been going for about 10 years. And that's been really great. BestSEOpodcast.com, like you mentioned, is kind of higher level digital marketers. A lot of, people that are learning digital marketing kind of check that out. And then, I branched out into other areas. I know the discussion of this call is going to be personal branding. And I actually, wrote a book about that. It hit Amazon bestseller.
That's exactly the topic. That's exactly the topic we're going to be talking about today. So we're super happy to have you here. Right here we have your book. It's called Build Your Brand Mania, right?
Yeah.
I actually read half of it.
Awesome.
Tell us a little bit about this book, Matt.
Well, yeah, no, this book really kind of starts to chronicle my journey to decide, okay, I am actually going to jump into this full time. I see the value of it. I see where the trends are going long term. And I was reading about a book a week when I was doing digital marketing, and I just couldn't get enough. I think that's some of why Kenna and I connected, is like she's got this really thirst for digital marketing, and just constantly learning. And I thought the information was just so valuable that I wanted to be able to share it. I kind of had that insight early on. And so really this book is kind of documenting my journey into the space and how I kind of built my own personal brand through seeing what other people were doing. And really, I think the thing that's so powerful about this is I got a pretty decent size agency now, and I have 0 salespeople. Everything that I've done is through people contacting us and saying, hey, I'm interested in what you're doing. I want to work with you. So it's kind of like Christmas, like almost every day, right? Like new leads show up in the inbox. And I think that a lot of people out there are looking for that type of success, for looking for that type of lead generation. And,
Exactly.
I just kind of was drinking my own Kool-Aid, and I mean, the agency's growing, and now I'm been able to implement that and share that with, clients across the spectrum.
So, sorry, I think you said, let me bring you back a little bit, Matt. You said that you were reading 1 book a week when you were doing digital marketing. How the hell do you do that?
I felt like, when you're reading articles online, or, I definitely listen to a lot of, Audible books or podcasts, but I always felt a sense of accomplishment every time you finished a book, and having that book in hand, just kind of anywhere you went, you had 5 minutes here, there, before you went to sleep, like just reading. And really, the more you read, the faster you get, and the more you retain. So I wasn't like speed reading or anything. I wasn't like reading a book a day or anything like that.
Right.
But really, I actually had like a pen and a highlighter, and I was like going through it. It was kind of like, studying for a class that I wanted to be in and wanted to learn. And,
what kind of stuff were you reading?
I actually got like a whole tower of books over there, but there's definitely like, let me see here. Oh, so, some of the books that were great were like the Russell Brunson book, expertsecrets.com secrets. I read things like the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Tested Advertising Methods is an old school book. I read a lot of Dan Kennedy stuff. There's really like a ton of books. And the thing that I found is like, I actually started, okay, so that's what I'll tell you. The book I started with was a Dan Kennedy book on direct marketing. Right. And so he built some info products. He's written a lot of different books in different niches. And I started just reading everything on topics that I wanted to learn based on the titles. But I actually found that just because the title was nice and the cover was nice didn't mean that there was value in the book. Okay. Right. And so I would read a book, and I would finish the book hoping to find those kind of nuggets of of wisdom. And sometimes I didn't find it, or I only found one or two. And so I actually walked it back, and I only now read books that are referrals from either books that I'm reading that I enjoy, where they like reference a book, or people that I trust, or people that mention a book like that. There's got to be some kind of referral basis, or yeah, so some kind of referral basis, because just picking up a book cold, there's a lot of times you kind of,
it's like a hit and miss. And you said something really important, that not because the book looks very nice from the outside, has a good cover, doesn't mean it has value or good content. It's similar to why we're here today. What do you think, Kenna? Like a marketing agency that looks nice, that have like this optimized Google listing, and they have a beautiful website where you can see that they put the time and effort, doesn't necessarily mean that marketing agency is going to bring you the value that you need.
Exactly. And then you have really good marketing agencies that might not have the best presence online, which, something that I guess a lot of people are working on right now.
That's great.
But Matt, can I get back to your book for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of books, that with great looking covers, here it is. So could you give us like what is the best takeaway from your book, like some actionable advice for our viewers?
No, absolutely. I want to go back and quickly say, I guess, two quick things. When you look at agencies, I would absolutely look at agencies and judge them based on the campaigns they've done for their clients, the websites they built for their clients. There a lot of time, smaller agencies, and I was definitely in this trap too, is really, it was like the cobbler's kids have no shoes. And so you really want to look at what they're doing for their clients and bringing the value. And that's where their attention and passion is delivering those results. So I think that that's absolutely important. And then, kind of going back into your question and talking about the book, one of the things that I tried to do with the book, and there's actually so many actionable steps, because I looked at all these books I was reading, and there was a lot of letdowns, but there was also a lot of great books. So I kind of molded it after the things that I really liked, and I tried to fill this book with so many different valuable nuggets of wisdom that I found from different sources, and then referenced them. And one of the reviews on Amazon was like, hey, like, I'm a digital marketer and I read this book and felt like I read like 500 books. And like, it was like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so true, because that's basically what it is. I read a ton of books and jam packed them together and tried to kind of build an outline. And, some of the actionable steps in this book, is really meant to give you kind of a foundational knowledge into digital marketing. It's not meant to go into too much depth. It's really for that person. Like, so I talk a lot about SEO, and people hear the word SEO and search engine optimization, and it's kind of like a black box. And what I tried to do is I talked a lot about SEO in the book, but I didn't call it SEO. I talked about it in terms that people would understand. Even like Google talks about how, if you're focused on the end user, you're not going to go wrong. Like if you're doing right by the user, you're moving in the right direction. But I think some actionable steps more than anything else is like defining your buyer persona. Like a lot of people don't know. They're like, hey, my target audience, like if we're talking about agencies, is small business owners. Like that's not niche enough. You got to niche down on that niche. Like Dan Kennedy, one of his big quotes was like, there's riches in the niches. Like, and people want to know that you're good at what I do. And small business owners is across too many different industries. So I would encourage people to specialize, especially starting out, and get really good at one thing. What are the things, Kenna, that y'all are focusing on that you're really good at? Because I know that you actually do this.
Yeah. So for instance, we have a company called Post Desk Marketing, and right now we're really focused on video marketing. But I don't think we necessarily...
For who?
Well, exactly. We don't necessarily have an industry right now, so that's probably something that we would look into.
Okay. No, I thought you were doing restaurants, right?
Like
Pre-conversation, you're doing restaurants and bars and breweries and that sort of thing.
We're starting another company, and we're focused social media for restaurants. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the second kind of actionable step is what is your unique selling proposition? Like, what makes you different? Like, if there's a barrage of different agencies or a barrage of different people that are offering that same product or service, how is that different? Like, why would they choose you over somebody else? And you should have like a clear, um, a clear differentiator. So I
Hmm.
think that that's super important. And then if you're talking about actionable like SEO steps, I would make sure that your Google My Business is set up. I know that y'all have a lot of expertise in that. Can y'all speak to kind of the value of GNB?
Yeah, so I used to work for a company and we did the Google virtual tours. And for those of you that don't know, that's basically like the inside of a business, and you'll do 360 inside there, and it sits in your Google My Business listing. But the Google My Business listing is like one of the more important local SEO factors. So, Google wants you to use their products firstly. And so they made it really easy with Google My Business now. So if you fully optimize your listing, that does give you a big boost to your local SEO rankings. And I'm sure, you already know that. But
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like 30% of all traffic, right? Like, so 30% of all traffic that you're getting in Google is coming from that Google My Business listing. So, if you're a small business owner out there, it's absolutely critical that you have that optimized. You do the video walkthroughs, you're adding the pictures, you're adding the right categories, you're
doing the
adding the
posts, got
blogs.
to do the
Content
posts.
is king, right, Matt?
Yeah. And distribution is queen.
Distribution is queen. I really like that. Yeah, I really like that stuff. So, why? So, how can you send a good email and make sure it gets open for the people that you're sending that to? Sometimes I feel like I'm writing an email and it's super nice. I just put the time into it and like effort, and I never hear back from people. And I'm like, wait, why is this happening right now? It's getting better lately, but sometimes they tell me, oh, like the email you sent went to the junk, folder, or I just didn't see it. So how can you fix that?
That's a good question too, because Matt, weren't you in sales for a long time?
Yeah, no, really that really how one of the ways that and I talk about this in my book, got that open rate high was really through volume. Okay. Like, I wasn't doing the personalized emails. I was just like kind of I'm through sheer numbers, like it was a numbers game. And really marketers ruin everything. Okay. Like, marketers like figure out something works and they ruin everything. Like, open rates on emails, like, remember when there was like old school dial-up? I don't know if y'all remember or not, but when emails were old school dial-up, people would read every email. Like, the open rates were 80-90%, 20 minutes on every email, because it was just amazing.
Yeah. And right now, you got all these commercials on YouTube. You want to watch a freaking video, and then this like ad comes up, and yeah, you're right.
I'm actually paying now because I like listen to like EDM music, like when I'm studying, and I listen to it through YouTube, and all those ads were just killing me. And now they're stacking ads on top of ads, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is screwing up my concentration.
Right. Or there's an
like
ad at the end of the video that it makes no sense that it's there. You watch it and the video ends. I hate when that happens. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. But
Well, interruption marketing, right? Which like that was radio, that was television. It is starting to be a little passé. That's why the rise of podcasts and on-demand content is happening. And really, if we want to get back to kind of personal branding, I can really kind of address some of that. But to answer your question specifically is because there's so many emails. Like, I actually have emails or email addresses, which people have them on average for 8 years, that I got bombarded to the point that I actually don't even log into the email anymore. Like, I just basically just like, I'm not even going to log in. Like, it's too much. I'll start over with the new email. And so you got to really make sure that people are actively using that email, and that's the platform that you're communicating with them with. So there's a lot of people I know that like Facebook Messenger, that's where you get them, or text message. Like my phone, I have all these robo dialers calling me now. Like I don't even answer my phone if I don't know the number.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, you got to text me first. So, there's different ways to communicate. Where I see the open rates back up to the like 98% is, well, text messages, SMS, which you can build into your email automation campaigns, has like a 98.5% open rate, because people are still looking at the text messages. And then like Facebook Messenger bots, or, like you get a Facebook Messenger app, you usually kind of look at it. I think that LinkedIn, people are kind of spamming too much on LinkedIn. It's starting that kind of transition starting to happen. And then it'll be another medium, right? But people are people. And really what we're talking about with maybe social media platforms or just technology in general is it just, the medium changes, but the interactions don't. And probably why you're not getting a good email open rate is people are not seeing it. And then that goes back to copywriting, making sure that you have a interesting title. I put things like, action requested, or, including their name in it, or saying something funny, and you can like test that out. But the bottom line is that people don't even see it. Like you don't even have the opportunity to get them to click on it and open it. And I think that that's probably what's happening a lot of times right now. Or things are going to the spam folder, and there's ways to kind of wash emails, like depending on how you're using them and that sort of thing, make sure they're being delivered and they're not going to spam, but people are just not seeing it. That's the reality. And then they're busy on top of that.
We'll probably have to get you back for another sales episode or something.
Yeah, we'll probably need some help with email.
But so I have a question back to the podcasting. How would a podcast make a difference for personal branding?
Well, kind of one of the things I had pulled up in preparation for this was like a definition from personalbrand.com of what a personal brand is. So a personal brand is a widely recognized and largely uniform perception or impression of an individual based on their experience, expertise, competencies, actions, achievements within the community, industry, or marketplace at large. And so really, I think that the podcast is a extension of connecting with people. I think that it's a medium that's really just blowing radio out of the water, because radio, you got to zone in at a certain time, right? You got to log in at a certain time to hear what's going on. So if it's not like, 5 o'clock traffic or in the morning when you're listening, you can't go back and listen to it. Podcast, you can download it on your phone. You can go into it. You can pick it up where you left off. You can listen to, as many in a row as you want. There's not as many advertisements yet. I mean, that's where I'm seeing the real growth in advertising is on podcasts, right? And sponsorships, and really that's just moving away from the product placement. Remember, like the product placement, like exactly. In movies, what I mean?
Yes.
Which
people think that's an accident. People are like, oh, they have like a Coca-Cola logo in Back to the Future. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. It's like, that's like, oh, that Pepsi sign is like right there. Like really, so there's a lot of that, because people don't want to be interrupted. Right. Like when a commercial comes on, unless it's like the Super Bowl, if it's not entertaining to you, you're going to get up and go take a break and come back. Like nobody really wants to see all those commercials. So it needs to be part of kind of the natural experience. That's why companies are sponsoring like big arenas, right? Because it's like, hey, this is brought to you, and YouTube has got it figured out, right? They sponsored the World Series, like it's brought to you by that, so it's kind of just omnipresent, and I think that people are still consuming information. And that's the thing. I think, like, if you look at the Kardashians, if you look at people in social media, they're just expressing more of themselves in kind of long form content, right? Because they got a video crew following them around 24/7. That's what podcasting is where you can connect and engage with people on a deeper level. I mean, that's why Friends was on for so long, right? People were like connecting with the characters. I don't know if that fully answered your question, but I do think that podcast is a superior medium, and I think that's, where people are getting their information now. So.
Right, and you get to know like the people who you're working with a little bit better through, the kind of topics that they're, giving on a regular basis, and the kind of people they're inviting over to the podcast, just like you. And by the way, you, Matt, are the first person on our podcast. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for being here today. So once you have an engagement with a consumer, it is really important, and people don't know, but it's really, really important that once you have a visitor on your website, you want to keep that visitor from coming back. So the ways to do that is through newsletters, through giving them something called. So as you mentioned on your book, those are the lead magnets that will lead people back to your website or whatever it is that you're doing. But it doesn't stop there. Once you have those clients, when they eventually convert to a client, people are like, oh, I got paid, they're happy, this is it, I got it done. You know what? And they totally forget that there's additional steps after you satisfy a consumer, right?
Yeah.
What could be those kind of steps?
So really the online space is really transforming. Going back to something you said, really developing know, like, and trust is what I talk about in my book. People got to know who you are. They got to like you and trust you, because people do business with people. So, the podcast that we put out is a great source of new business for us. When someone comes to your website, there's a variety of different ways to reconnect with them. Remarketing, retargeting. So here's another data point for you. 94% of people come to a website, leave, and never come back. So, it's all about, once they're there, make the most of that time to create that first impression. And then, you can use remarketing and retargeting to kind of chase them. Amazon used to be really good at it. Like, if you ever looked at a product and then it shows up in your Facebook feed or something like that, or it's following you around in like banner ads. So that's super powerful. Talking about lead magnets specifically is really the first step of like a sales funnel, right? So I know that the title of your podcast is Through the Funnel. And that's really what you want to see is the website is now like this online funnel. And so people need to create steps to kind of bring them in. And one of the ways to get them engaged, because here's the thing, if someone is watching the podcast or someone comes to your website, until they give you a piece of information to identify themselves, you don't really know who they are unless you're like tracking their IP address, which there's kind of some tools to help you do that. But in reality, you really don't know who they are. So you want to exchange some kind of value for that email address or phone number. And you got to figure out who that target audience is, as we talked about in the beginning, and figure out what's valuable to them. What can you give them that they will make that initial commitment of trading their email address or phone number for it? Now, a lot of people
for free, right? It has to be for free.
Yeah. I think that's like the first step. I would say, it's kind of the hook or the lead magnet that you can kind of get them in, then hit them with the emails or the text messages. I think that, like, what's the lowest level of commitment that you can exchange, right? So something for free, or even like a free consultation. Okay. Like, a lot of people are like, free consultation. Free consultation is actually a little bit nerve-wracking, because you got to talk to somebody on the phone. Like, so the pre-recorded messages that used to be like back in the day where you would like call 1-800 number. There's a lot of people that actually like to hear more without feeling the pressure of being sold. And that's what a lead magnet is. So
I feel that.
Right. Like for example, you've used like mini courses or an ebook or, some kind of like a guide.
Chapter in the book. Yeah,
a chapter
exactly.
in the book for free.
But here's the thing. Like, we're in the new ecosystem of you have to give to get, right? Like you have to be the first person in that relationship to kind of start that process. And so, like, the key to lead magnets, okay? Like, I actually, I think I talk about this in my book, but really one of the keys to lead magnets is you have to give away something for free that has enough value that someone would pay for, or you feel you should charge for. And a lot of people just give like something token away or something that's not that valuable. That's really the key to having lead magnets work, is it's so valuable that someone would pay for it and you're willing to give it away for free. And then you're looking for that reciprocity.
Yeah, a good example of this is Chase Rayner. Did I say his last name right? Chase Rayner?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he has that SEO checklist online that's really helpful. And I definitely gave him my information for that. And now I get those Facebook chatbot messages. So.
Yeah. and that's the trade-off. You kind of know that, but it's so valuable that you're like, I'm willing to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then hopefully at some point of what he's kind of hitting you with, get you into that next step. Right. And you can do all kinds of fancy things with email automation, with lead scoring, with little triggers based on what people do, to kind of to get them to the next step in your funnel. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm thinking. When you want like a client to come back because you felt like this really good connection, or if it's good money and you're enjoying what you do, you don't want the relationship to end there after you deliver the final service or the final good. So what I was thinking about lead magnets would be something that once the other side, Kenna. Everybody pay attention to how Kenna's trying to open the beer. I wish you could see this. You'll see that later, Matt. But pretty much once you complete the sale, to me a lead magnet would be to give something of value once you complete that process and have that client come back once more. For example, me, what I do is that I make video production. I do video production, so I make videos for all types of industries. But something that goes along with videos is other type of multimedia. So if I film something extra, or if I can do like an extra, let's say they paid me to do like a 5-minute video, but I give them another like 30-second video on top of that without they asking me to do that, or I give them stills or professional photography on top of that, that adds value to what I have to offer, and that has to do a lot with personal branding, which I think that's where referrals. When you get the referrals from other people you've worked with already. So what do you think about that?
I mean, I think over delivering is an excellent strategy, no matter where it falls. I think that something that a lot of people don't talk about is really that overall experience that they're giving somebody, right? So like, it's not just like the final product, but it's like how that person felt, because most opportunities when you're purchasing something are emotional, right? Like 95, I think I'm throwing way too many statistics. I apologize, but 95% of all purchases are emotional, right? And so then after that happens, they're trying to decide, do I have buyer's remorse? Is this going to be a good experience? And then that process throughout that is really important. And you got that first impression, and you got that last impression. And then what you were talking about is like that reoccurring business, right? Or that, I actually read there, one of the books was called like subscription marketing, or permission-based marketing, but then subscription marketing of like that reoccurring business or that ongoing client. Okay. And so, to get that additional work, like one of the things that, we have a video production component as well. And this might be something you might want to look at doing, but like in Google, it's like people also ask, right? Like, so questions that people also ask, it's creating those videos there to help them rank, answering questions on a product or service to add it to the Google My Business. Like that ongoing component is really, really important, because people think you do SEO or you do marketing. It's like a one-time thing. It's really a conversation. Okay. It's a two-way conversation. Like we're talking, maybe one or few to many. And it's this ongoing conversation that you have with people, and it's about that experience. And absolutely, one of the other data points that I had, I apologize for throwing so much data to you, but we were talking about personal branding. And, I'm a millennial, and we were talking about millennials in particular. This is from influencermarketinghub.com. It was like why personal brand is important. It was talking about the distrust of advertising. 84% of millennials trust neither advertising nor brands that create them, but yet they believe people that they quote unquote, know. So that know, like, and trust is is so important. And that experience that someone had and that referral marketing is that's another big component of our business, is getting those testimonials. That's another video thing that can be offered, because really, if someone's willing to get in front of a camera and give a testimonial and give their name and their business, that's legit. Like some of these, testimonials online are kind of, maybe potentially untrustworthy, right? Like, because there's just this high degree of skepticism today.
Right.
I feel that. We actually just recently made a customer testimonial. You can find the link below.
Down below.
But back to personal branding, Matt. So for the viewers listening, what are some good ways to establish credibility and authority, like some actionable tips?
I think you should, first of all, I think you should be a good person. Not just kidding. I think you should be, you should be who you say you are online. I think to me, that's like the most important thing, because I've seen a lot of companies that, and people specifically who claim to be, the most ethical company out there and who'll bring you the best results. But you do a little bit of research, and then you see the background they have, and then you're like, I don't know if I want to work with this person. So I think personal branding is really important for the brand you're building yourself. Because when you have a company, you become that company. You become part of that. It's not your job. So here's what people think. When you have like a job that is from 8 to 5 and you're going every day from Monday through Friday, once you get home, you're done with work. You have a separate life outside of work. But when you have your own company and your own brand, your wellness, your state of mind, your everything pretty much, it's based on your business results. So if I have a really good month on my business, I'm gonna be excited and happy and pumped. But if I have a really bad month with my business, it's not like, oh, it's done after 5 p.m. It goes to me to bed, literally.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I think that question is there's a lot in that question. I think that's a really good kind of all encompassing question, that I'll try to unpack for you. Yeah, I absolutely agree with everything that y'all are saying. I'm seeing a big transition online. Like, so this goes back to like, hey, that know, like, and trust. Like, you're determining if you want to do business with somebody before you even pick up the phone and call them. And you're also looking for congruency, right? Like, is what this person's saying what they're doing? And like, is that consistent with their reputation and what people are saying about them? And, I want to see proof of that, right? So it's like, hey, you told me that, but show me. And that's what people are really, really looking for. And so when you're developing your personal brand, you got to figure out the attributes that people like. Or the attributes, not just that people want to see, but the attributes of like who you really are. So certain people are better at other things. Certain people have interest in other areas, and you want to be genuine to who you are, because you're going to connect people that want to do business with that perception of who you're presenting yourself to be. I've seen like a merger happen between business profiles, social, right? Like your LinkedIn, your Facebook, like it's got to be the same person. Like, you can't hide. I mean, in the beginning, people were having like multiple accounts or this or that, exactly. But like you can't hide anymore. Like, everybody's got a video camera on your phone, right? Like, so you are who you are, and you need to embrace that. And you need to say, hey, this is who I am. And like, put that out there, and know that not everybody's going to want to do business with you because you're unique. You're who you are. But there are a set of people that are going to be unique. So I would rather be polarizing, where like, not everybody like wants to do business with me, or, hey, if I don't show up in a suit and tie to a business meeting, like, and you're going to turn me away. Like, if someone's that uptight, right? Like, I don't even want to do business with you. Right. So like, help. Let's help vet this process beforehand. Like, it's a lot like interviews. So I'm like doing a lot of interviews right now. Well, like, I know if the person like is going to be a culture fit pretty quickly in the beginning. So like, I'm checking out their social media profiles. Like, I'm trying to find out who they are as a person to decide if they're even going to be a fit. And that's what customers are doing online, is they're looking at the business and they're like, well, who am I going to be working with? Like, who am I going to be talking to? Like, do I know the owner? Like, is it a faceless brand? Like, a lot of businesses are trying to put a face to it. I mean, and this has been going on for a long time. Like, you think about celebrity endorsements, right? Like, this is just, everybody's now a celebrity, right? Like, if we talk about personal branding, everybody can be a celebrity. Like, everybody can be an authority. And to kind of summarize your question, or try to summarize your question, what do you need to do to build your personal brand online? Well, okay, if it's about authority, right? Because, people want to do business with people that they know can do whatever it is that they need. Like, what do authorities do? Like, they put out content, they put out expert content, they show examples of being able to do that. They have other third-party people giving them references. Like, they're doing all the things that would check all the boxes if you yourself would buy something. So you just think, and that goes even back to what Google says, right? Like, like, do what's best for the end user. Well, what would the customer, if you were a customer, want to see? And if you turned yourself around in the seat and said, okay, whatever I'm offering, like, do I have enough information to make a intelligent and informed decision? Do I have enough reviews on my Google My Business, right? Is there people of my team? Like, I know that people have actually chosen to hire us based on the reviews on what is it called? Glassdoor, like, and on Indeed. Like, people want to see, like, is there going to be turnover, right? Because maybe based on their past experience, they had multiple account managers like this. So it really depends where that person's coming from and the experience they had, and then making an assessment whether they want to do business with you or not. And you don't really know what that is. And that's why you got to offer as much as you can, but also really cater to that target persona to make sure that those people have that right information. And, so hopefully I tried to answer it.
Yeah, no, that was good. So just in my head, this is kind of what I got from that is, one, you want to make sure your reviews are tight online, because people really do look at reviews. It's something I actually just looked up the statistic the other day. I'm not a data person like you, so I don't remember these things, but it was like over 90% of people look at reviews when making a purchasing decision or something like that. Don't quote me.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
So you want to make sure your reviews are tight. To establish maybe authority or credibility, you want to get some good customer testimonials, some good used cases.
Lead magnets. We talk about it. I think it's extremely important to use lead magnets nowadays.
Mm-hmm. And then also, like for instance, what we're doing, right? So like podcasts, just being, and I talk about this too. Like when I used to talk to small business owners, and we talk about just being, like your relationship with the internet is like any relationship. You want to do things consistently. You don't want to just do things one time and say, okay, here, I did it. Like, you have to keep doing things. So, like there's just so many avenues, I guess, that you could go to really build that personal brand.
Yeah, no, I mean, you hit on something really big there, Kenna. One of the things that I found to be true, I read this in one of the books. I can't remember where I read it. But think about your audience, or the audience you're trying to build, and think about the kind of relationship that you want to have with them. And then think about the kind of relationship that you have with people in your life. Right? There's the best friends, or the really close people, or the family members that you might talk to like every day or every other day, or at least on a weekly basis. And then there's those people that maybe you talk to monthly that you kind of know, and that you're friends with, and you might be business acquaintances. And then there's those people like quarterly, or even greater than that, you're just really acquaintances. So if you think about the kind of audience you want to have, I think that or the type of relationship you want to have, that's how often you should be putting out content, because that's what a lot of people ask me. So I would say daily, weekly, monthly. And then when you start getting into quarterly or more than that, like, they might have forgotten who you are, and you put out an email or something, they're going to ask to be removed from that list because they don't maybe remember who you are and they signed up for your lead magnet on a whim, you know?
That's exactly right. That's totally right. And I stayed at an Airbnb not too long ago. It was for a Colorado Rapids game here in Denver. Actually, that was last year because we're in 2020. I still can't believe that.
Oh,
it's,
God.
it's fine. Yeah, time's flying. But last year, I stayed at this Airbnb, and the owner of the Airbnb was actually an author and a life coach. So she's like, hey, you're staying at my Airbnb, please leave a review, and also please sign up to my newsletter. Send me, like, give me your email. I haven't like unsubscribed, but I get emails every single day. Like, how's your life going, and what makes you happy, and stuff like that. Those kind of lead magnets. She's giving us, a free ebook and a free guide and stuff like that. So I think Matt is completely right. It's really important to keep track of the people who you contact, and to make sure they don't forget about you. That's also really, really important. Make sure they're still on the fishing net.
And let me ask you a question, Matt, because I'm kind of going through this right now, and I'm trying to do it all myself when I create content. How, when you were first starting out, how did you find time to create content?
How do you find time to write a book a week?
Or read a book a week?
I'm just kidding. You already answered that question.
No. So yeah. So, I think one, you got to choose the medium that you're most comfortable with, right? You need to choose the platform you're most comfortable with when creating content. For me, I think writing's like a creative outlet. I think that, although my spelling might not be like the absolute best, there's editors for that. Right. But I'm also experimenting with this kind of text to talk, and so, just getting that information out there in whatever medium I think is absolutely important. You could even take, a video transcription and get it transcribed. Right. And also you got to think about the content that people are consuming, how they like to consume it. Is it video? Is it audio? Is it text? I found the time to do it just really through planning. I think I drive by my calendar and you make time for things that are important. Now, when I did write the book, I stopped blogging. Okay. I stopped blogging, and basically the book is like a blog a month for a year. Right. So it took me about a year to write the book. I didn't try to rush it. I really, decided to focus on one topic and really learn that topic. And that's what I wrote the chapter on. So I really had a plan going into it of like what I wanted to do. And then I committed to setting that goal to write a chapter a month. And that was kind of like one of my short-term goals. So it wasn't to it was to write a book, but it was to write a chapter like this month on this thing, which was a SMART goal, a very attainable goal. And I actually chose to not do other things. Right. So writing other blogs or doing other things, I had to say, I only have so much time, and I'm going to choose with my time to do this. And I made it a priority. I think that's kind of with anything that's really, really important. It's making it a priority and creating a routine, just like putting out that content, right? You create that content calendar and then you follow that. Like you said, time is really, I think, our most valuable asset that a lot of people don't view it that way.
That
and
is true.
It just,
That's true. No matter how hard you work in life, you'll never get time back.
Amen.
Yeah.
That is true. That's something that I've learned.
But I mean, that's kind of what we're doing with the podcast too. I know, say if we put out one a week, right? You can always take that podcast and turn it to different medias and put it on different platforms. So that's going to be really helpful for us. We're excited about that.
I think that brings everything full circle.
It really does.
Right? Right? So content is king, but distribution is queen.
Distribution is
Exactly.
queen.
Well,
So you want to
Love that.
take that content, chop it up, put it on multiple platforms for sure.
So
Great
Matt,
advice.
we are getting close to our end. So we're gonna do you still have your drink with you?
I do.
Okay, so this is the part of the podcast.
This is my second one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, same. But so we are gonna ask you a question, and if you get it correct, then we drink, and if you get it wrong, then you have to finish that beer that you have because it's almost the end of the podcast. Okay.
Oh, dang. All right.
Okay, so this is so me and Andres both went to the University of Wyoming. We went to school for marketing, and so this is going to be an intro to marketing question. So just get ready for this because you think it'd be easy, right? But intro to marketing, you don't use it in real life. Sorry, everybody, you don't use it. but just okay. See if you can answer this question. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. What are the 4 P's of marketing? The 4 P's of the marketing mix.
Oh man. So I actually did get a degree in marketing from Texas A&M, and I feel like I've heard this before. Can I phone a friend and ask Siri?
No, you can't. You just have to. You give me your best educated answer.
Best educated answer would probably be, is price one of them?
Yes, that is one of the P's.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay. Price, product,
Yep.
place, and promotion.
Oh my God, you got it.
You got it.
Okay,
So Kenna drinks. Kenna drinks. She was answering. The
Well, so Andres, you're almost done.
No, well, mine is right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine's right here.
Look, I'm almost done here. Like I'll drink too, because I
actually
did
don't
have
mind.
I did have a little help from my friend Google.
All right, sounds good.
Oh,
Perfect.
What a cheater.
It's all right. You get a freebie. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you as our first guest of our podcast. Hopefully, you're back in the future. Would love to have you again. I'd like to ask you something. What do you just a personal question to wrap things up, and has nothing to do with personal branding. What is it that you hope to get out of life?
Hope to get out of life. Well, I think everybody's looking for happiness, right?
Exactly.
So,
But more than happiness, I know happiness has to do with what you do every single day. The
fulfillment,
things,
accomplishment,
yes,
all those kind of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is it that makes you want to get up every single day and be like, "Wow, I live for this. This is my stuff."
That's a good question.
Yeah. No, that's great. By the way, both beers are done. So,
We have just 1.5. Kenna's on her third one. Actually, she lied. She said she was on the second one.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just getting stuff ready before the podcast, but yeah.
So yeah, I think that like living your passions, like absolutely important. Like life's too short. Like you got to do what you love. You got to live day to day. Like you can't you can't think too hard about it. But I think that if you hate your job, right? Like I want to give everyone permission to like start a side hustle, start working on something that you're passionate about. If you do what you're passionate about and you do what you love, the money will come. Like if you're at the expert at the top of your industry, like at the top of like the authority or the knowledge or the expertise, like people will seek that out. And it doesn't matter what industry. It doesn't have to be digital marketing. It could be anything. It could be brewing beer. Like if you're the absolute best at what you do, like the money will come, the people will come. Like focus on your passion, drive in that direction. I mean, I love marketing. I love psychology. I love business, right? And this was kind of the combination of all three things. I mean, I was in sales for a while, and marketing is just like an extension of sales. And I've always had a passion for it. And like the reason I'm like a data junkie is I just love, I love like the human experience and like how people interact, and being able to see that. Like that's the big thing about digital advertising over traditional marketing is like, okay, hey, you throw up a billboard or you run a radio ad, like then you're, or a magazine ad, you're done. Like, did it work? Did it not work? Who knows? Like, it's really hard to target the attribution. Digital advertising, you can see what's happening. You can iterate on that. You can make changes, and you can see how people are interacting with what you put out and make adjustments. And for me, like it's just fun. Like it's fun to see that. Like I used to play video games, like the game of business. It's fun, right? And so I wake up every day, not like I wake up Monday morning like excited to get into work, right? Excited to do what I'm doing, not like, oh my gosh, it's Monday, I got to go back to work. Like, exactly. And if you don't have that love or that passion to go into work, where you might get anxiety or you're at work and you like want to leave, like you're in the wrong job. You're like working to live. You're not living to fulfill your passion, right? And work for me is not work. Like it's just fun. Like I have so much fun with the people I work with and what I'm doing and the clients I have. And really, like, I've surrounded myself with people in my life that like I really enjoy and I love interacting with. And like, for me, like every day is awesome. And I know that there are people listening to this podcast that is not the case for. And if that's not the case, like, I give you permission to like make those changes in your life to do it, because it's possible now more than any other time in like the history of the world. I think, do you have the opportunity to start a new business? Like it's so easy to go out there right now and start a new business and do something different. And you have access to all the information possible. That was what was preventing people before, is like people were limiting the access to information. You can figure out anything you want on YouTube. Okay. If you have that desire to go get it. And that's really one of the reasons that, we put out the podcast. So yeah, like just to kind of summarize, bestseopodcast.com. If you love digital marketing, we've been doing podcasts for like 10 years. There's, I think we're at 460 something episodes, or maybe 470. I think we just came out with 470. Wow. So that's tons of content. Okay. That free that we give out of just kind of like the experience we've had over time, because, SEO and digital marketing is kind of a moving target. And then buildyourbrandmania.com, like build your brand. And then the mania, like I put that on it because I just think that now's the time. It's just like, now is the time. It's getting crazy. Mania.com, you can go check out what the book's about. You can get it on Amazon. And then, I'm actually in the process of rebranding our agency. So we started out as eWeb Results, and like, when the internet started, everything had a little E by it. Okay. Like, so the little E I never thought was going to go anywhere. It's kind of like iPhone right now. It's like iPhone. Everything's iPhone.
I forgot is when you forget your password, I forgot, right?
I mean, everything. Like, imagine, well, everything. Like, Facebook was like the Facebook and they dropped the, right. And it's like Facebook. Imagine, and like, tissues and all this, like if you're in marketing, right, those case studies. But like, imagine iPhone just deciding they're going to drop the I, and they're like, we're just phone now, phone. And like, so I never thought the E was going to go anywhere. Right. But it did. And so we're rebranding the agency because we work with small business owners and a number of different niches, but we're working with some publicly traded companies now. And really, we got to kind of stay current with the times. So we're rebranding to EWR Digital. So eWebResultsDigital.com, but eWeb Results, you'll always be able to get us. We're just going to do a redirect. Check us out if that makes sense and you kind of like what you heard. Happy to give a free video consultation. So
yeah, thank you for the shameless promotion, Matt.
That's awesome, Matt. Thank you so
I'm just
so
kidding.
much.
I'm just kidding.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for being
If
with
you're
us
in
today.
Houston, how about that? How about that? Only if you're in Houston,
Or any other state,
or
because
across the U.S. because the internet is pretty powerful.
Or you have an internet connection, yeah. So yeah, I didn't think that E would go anywhere either, but it was a pleasure meeting you. I know we haven't met in person
we
yet,
go.
but
I like it.
it was a pleasure meeting you for sure, Matt. Thank you so much for being our first guest, and this beer is gonna be for you. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Awesome.
out
All right.
down for the homie. Thank you, Matt. You're my hero.
Thanks for having me. All right.
All right, Matt. Thank you very much again. Alrighty.
All right.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.